So this is a 3-month update to the day. Today is September 23rd, 2020. I had my first transplant on June 23rd. So today is September 23rd, so it's exactly 3 months today. I ended up having 5 procedures. Each one was like a little mini procedure, varied between 3,000 for the first one, and then after that it tended to be about 1,500 grafts. I don't know the exact totals. It was around 8,000. It was quite a few grafts. But that most recent one, as you can see right here, was just a couple days ago. What is today? Today's the 23rd. So that was the 21st of September. So there's going to be kind of this rolling effect where I'm seeing 3 months for that first procedure, but then every other procedure was about a month apart. It's sequentially going to be like 3 months from that month until I see the results in this most recent one. I won't even start seeing the results probably until December 21st, another 3 months from now. All right, that said, let's have a quick look. This is exactly 3 months. So again, this is what I had just 2 days ago. Fixing the hairline. I've had this huge recession. My hairline, it didn't even look straight. If you can imagine those Lego characters where you kind of snapping the hair on them, it was like my hair was kind of not on straight. I'll try to include some pictures so you can see what I mean, but this looks a lot more symmetrical. There you can see she kind of did this sawtooth thing in the front because the hairline usually isn't perfectly round, at least not in Caucasian people. This was kind of a small procedure. I had 700 taken from the head, I had 800 taken from the abdomen. This is still not looking great. It should heal pretty well. Let's take a quick look here. This is some leg grafts I had. I forget, this was about 2 months ago. This is going to heal really slow. That'll heal eventually, but it's the most slow. Okay. So this area in the back, this is where I had the three months ago, and you can definitely see stuff coming in. At first I was, like anyone, I was really nervous. I couldn't see anything, and I thought it failed, and then I started thinking I saw like a little bit of baby hair, and I was like, oh, maybe that's my mind playing tricks on me. Now I definitely can see something, so I'm really happy about that starting to come in. In the back there, that was my biggest one. I had 3,000, so I had, I think, about 2,000 head hair and 1,000 from the chest area. And that's still healing, but it's looking pretty good. So the chest hair, different body types come in at different times. The beard hair actually comes in the fastest, and I've had some from my beard, and that's all looking really good, I have to say. So that can come in as quick as a month. The head hair usually comes in about 3 months, but the other parts of the body, your chest, your abdomen, leg, that can take a year or more than a year. So it's probably just going to trickle in real slowly over time. But anyway, so this is my 3-month update. I'm liking that I have finally filled in these temple areas. Hopefully that looks good when it grows in. So the first couple days after each transplant, I'm wearing this bandana thing. It looks a little bit funny, but I live in Thailand, and actually there's some other people wearing things like this, and fortunately no one seems to care, especially in the time of COVID pandemic where people are covering everything they can anyway. I don't know, it's not going to damage any grafts. I look forward to not having to wear it, but for now I do need to. One other thing I was going to mention is I've had hair from all different parts of the body. I mentioned that they grow at different speeds. Actually, some of them, they have different characteristics. It's more wiry here, it's more soft from my head, different lengths, and also different colors. So that's going to be a really interesting mix when it's on my head. I already noticed some is black and some is white. I guess I could dye it. I guess, some hair is better than no hair, but it probably is going to be a little bit funny, but what the hell, I accept that. My lovely assistant Noi is going to help film my head because I'm having a little trouble. It's kind of hard to film the back of your head. Okay?
Okay, lovely, Jason.
All right. Not sure if you can see this little guy on my finger here. This is a graft. This is every transplant recipient's worst fear when a graft falls out. However, this might not actually be a graft because usually blood comes out also. A little too early for shedding. the bottom, the actual follicle might have actually stayed in there. Like I said, usually they'll be bleeding if the whole follicle comes out. I kind of lightly bumped my head and this guy came out, much to my dismay. Everyone is like a gold coin, but there's nothing you can do sometimes. Just try to keep most of them. Got a bit of a lightning storm going on here. Fortunately, it was not like this when I had my most recent appointment. I had to walk to it. Nice and cool and refreshing while I wait for the hair to grow. So at this point you can see nearly all the scabs have come off. Now this hair is going to fall out probably starting any day now and then take probably about 3 months to even start coming in. It's really kind of an interesting thing. I mean, right now these hairs all look like full-grown hairs, but basically they'll disappear and they'll go through the entire rebirth cycle. It's like a metamorphosis. So then they'll come back in and they'll be like really fine, what they call vellus hairs, kind of clear and very thin. Then they'll be very wispy, and then gradually over the course of a year they'll get back to what you're seeing right now. So that's one of the difficult things about a hair transplant. It's kind of like a tease. This is what I hope to see in a year, but really as soon as 3 months I should start to have a sign that it's working and it's coming back. And then month by month after that it should look better and better. Typically though, if you see all the grafts like this, if the doctor did a good job and you don't see any blood, if you just see the hair coming out, that's normal. But if really kind of a few days after your transplant, if you see some blood with the hair, that's typically a bad sign and that graft is probably not coming back. Just the back area. So it's been a little over 3 months. It's nothing that impressive yet. I'm not like, whoa, I'm not bald anymore. I'm starting to see some signs of the hair coming in the back, and hopefully that just keeps it up. And hopefully the minoxidil helps too. Each one was about a month apart, and what happened was she transplanted, and then I think maybe the doctor was not exactly sure where it stopped the last time because the grafts had fallen out. You could kind of see some redness, but not with great precision. So she transplanted the hair again and again. There does seem to be some gaps that will need to be filled in. The benefit is it didn't overwhelm my scalp. I think all the hair will grow, but the detriment is I will probably need more work. The minoxidil will fill some of that in, but most likely I'm going to have to go back. Fortunately, I do still have a lot of beard hair. I have, let's take a quick look, see the abdomen area. This looks worse than it is. As long as the scarring is flat, at least for me, typically this is going to heal just fine. This will be red for a while, flat red circles, but then this will just fade. You can see my chest, I really can't hardly, there's a couple pimples, but I can hardly see that, so it's just a matter of patience and time. This is a 5-month update from my first in my recent series of hair transplants. This crown region in the back I had in late June, and this is late November. So that part has been 5 months. Then I had 4 other procedures, and each was a small mini procedure. The one in the furthest back was in June, and then early July, mid-July, August, and then September. All right, so let's take a look. And I'm outside, I'm trying to get some good light. Hopefully it's not too bright. Okay, so we see, hopefully I've got this here in this back, and there's some good growth happening because that's had the most time to grow. And interestingly, this area in the back right here, and again, hopefully you're seeing this, and I'll put some photos there too, but this area was head hair, and you can see a thick and dark. This area towards the bottom and on the sides, that was leg hair. And that was actually done later. So one, it was done later, and it's a different type of hair, but it's gonna grow in more slowly and probably not be quite as thick. But it is blending in. I don't think it looks weird, it's just slightly different. I also had some chest hair. I'm not exactly sure where that was put, but that seems to be matching pretty well. Okay, let me try to go over the whole part. So again, this was 5 months ago, and then something like 4, 3, 2, and so forth. So here we're seeing the top And you can see that it's just slowly moving forward. You can very clearly see results at this point, especially the beard hair that grows very fast. On the side here, I'm gonna need more. There's I think some of that will come in, but I'm gonna need to fill in some gaps. And there, between the sessions, there's some clear gaps. I'll just have to wait a little bit of time and fill that in. You can see in this front, hopefully you can see this. You can see in this frontal area, I didn't have any recently here in this most recent series of hair transplants. I did have hair transplanted there before, and this was actually body hair, and even though I had progressive hair loss, a lot of this did survive. So I have some hair here, but I did have my last hair transplant in this frontal area, and it was really like the temples and the hairline. So I didn't have any hair transplantation in this temple area since I began losing my hair more than 25 years ago. So you can really clearly judge this doctor's current work. And this was only about 2 months ago in this temple area, and that's already just starting to come in. It's like fine peach fuzz, but I can clearly see it starting to come in. I've also started growing my hair a little bit. I'd like to try to keep it the same length because that can distort how things look, but I myself, I want to see how it looks when it's a little longer. And also because I have these gaps, I probably am going to have to do a little bit of a comb over to hide those if I want to keep it longer. And another thing is this most front area is going to be thicker than here. And even shave, that might look a little funny, so I might unfortunately have to do the comb over backwards, but I think it will look pretty good because it's thick enough here and this gap isn't that big, so I'll be able to cover it up if I choose to do that. I still like keeping it short until everything is done. Let me film a little bit more. This is where I usually film. Another noteworthy thing is I have continued to take 5 milligrams of minoxidil. You can see I'm turning into an altered beast. This hair is continuing to grow. I'm going to use this hair to probably fill in some of those gaps. It's a little bit comical and I guess weird to use body hair, but I don't know, what can you do? People get tattoos, people get piercing, just another form of body modification, and hopefully it looks pretty consistent. It's not weird looking, but so far, even though I've had different types of hair, it does seem to blend in. If you look close, you can see a slight difference. I'm curious when everything is done and I've grown it long, how it's gonna look. But even if it's not entirely natural, who knows, maybe it's gonna have a unique and cool look to it. We'll just have to see. So I also was doing periodic chest and abdomen updates. I think I'm gonna stop doing that because as I showed you, that pretty much healed. It got to the point where it was almost undetectable and there's just really not much more to show. The leg seems to heal the slowest, so I'll do a couple more updates on that, and at some point that'll become a non-issue. Right now I expect I need at least 2 more sessions. I intentionally transplanted here, left a gap here, and created this hairline just so it was framed and there was no chance of beard hair getting in here, and I can safely fill this in with beard hair or some hair that might not perfectly match the characteristics of head hair. Let me try to show you that. So the doctor thinks 1,000 grafts will fill in this area. This might be a combination of beard hair and chest hair. And there's another area in the middle, and this was not quite intentional, but just the nature of doing things incrementally. But I need another 500 here in the middle to fill in this gap here. So 1,500, 1,500 more. And then I need at least one more, maybe even a small session here where I'm filling in. You can't quite see it because the hair is longer, and I'll try to show you this again when it's shaved, but maybe another 1,000 back here. There's a little bit of a gap here in the back. It's the same thing where things were done incrementally and sometimes areas were unintentionally skipped. And then also, I might do in that second, so I believe I have 2 more sessions. 1,000 here, 500 here, maybe 1,000 back here, and then maybe just a little bit around these edges here, because it's a common thing, doctors will leave a little gap between the thicker donor hair in the recipient area, but I want to try to cover that as much as possible. So hopefully two more sessions and everything is done. And then I'll probably wait a year. And if there's any more gaps or areas where I would like more density, I will probably use leg hair, because that is all that will likely be left. As promised, here is another video with my hair approximately the same length as it was in the other videos. And this is only about 20 minutes after I filmed that other set of videos, so same day, same thing. Over the top. So let's go this way. In the back. On the side. On the other side. So at this length, it actually looks pretty good. There's this one area that clearly still needs to be filled in, and there's this gap here, but as it's the same length, it's looking pretty good in my opinion. Particularly the crown area, which it can be a minefield. It just can take so many grafts. This, so far, I've put 4,500 just in this back area and this here. And at this length, it's looking really good, actually. As I showed you when it was longer, these sides look a little thinner because that's body hair, but at this length, it's looking good, and hopefully at some point, those match the color and the density of the, not density, but thickness, the caliber of the hair, of the other hairs in the back. So very happy with that. As I mentioned in that first video, my original goal was just to fill in the back, and I'm actually still to this day surprised that I've been able to get so much coverage and even have more grafts for future coverage. So I know this looks a little bit funny. That'll be fixed next month. I have very high confidence in this doctor. Pretty much everything she's done has grown in. And I've been doing these incremental sessions to increase the yield and my odds of success. I didn't want to try to do it all at once. As satisfying as it would be to just do it all at once and have it done, in the long run, it would not have been worth it if that ended up creating lower yield, or I got some type of infection, or I don't know, some type of problem happened. So I did have those pimples. That was my fault due to not taking antibiotics. I have not had anything like that since, as directed, taking the antibiotics and all other prescribed medicine. Really quite happy. I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel now, and what can I say? Looking good.
Rise from your grave.